We're still a small congregation and we growing and we getting it. You know what I mean? But I was happy to see that the Most High put the spirit on us to be able to go there and do that. For new people to get the chance to get the experience and see that. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you about to be out there every year now. And the Most High even put the spirit on some of our people who don't even have the knowledge of themselves being Israel. You know, and go out there and feed the homeless. And of course, with our enemies trying to defame Israel in the media and whatnot, they didn't expect to see Israelites out there doing that. You know what I'm saying? So when we went out there and saluted our brethren who we know that they was identifying as Christians and whatnot, but nonetheless they deal with the same book. And the Most High put the spirit on them to go out there and do that work. You know, trust and believe that made an impact on them. You know what I'm saying? The next time that they see an Israelite, they're going to think differently. They're going to think twice before judging us in a certain light and judging us all the same if they had a bad experience with an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? So all praise to the Most High. Hallelujah. Give the Most High a round of applause. So now we're about to go into the actual story of the book of Esther. We have some highlighted verses that we're going to touch on to get straight to the point of what we're really celebrating and the reason for this feast day. So we would like everybody to go to the book of Esther, which is in the Old Testament, not before Psalms, before Job. So it's two books before Psalms. We're going to start from chapter 1, verse 1. And it's a good thing that y'all got your cell phones too, because we're gonna look at some visuals as well. You know what I'm saying? I want somebody to type up in Google Images East Indians, you know, or ancient Persians. Type up ancient Persians or East Indians, because our sister Esther, she's from the tribe of Benjamin. Who know who the tribe of Benjamin is? The West Indians. All right, and on that island of Jamaica, right? The so-called Negroes brought over as slaves, brought over to be slaves, are normally, for the most part, considered to be West Indian. Who are the East Indians over there? Trinidadians. Some of them are our people and just identify as Trinidadians, but a lot of them are not. A lot of them are descendants of the ancient Persians. They are Elamites according to the Bible. All right? And when you look in Google Images and you look up ancient Persians in Google Images, you will see the similarities and the features in them. Now, why do you think in the last days that you have Jamaicans and East Indians on the same island? The Jamaicans, the tribe of Benjamin, was brought over as slaves, brought over to be slaves, right? The East Indians were brought over to be indentured servants. What's the difference between being an indentured servant and a slave? Buggy.
Indentured servant gets paid.
They get paid, true. What else?
They agree to it.
It's a contract.
Oh, and they got promised the new land.
They got what?
I think they got promised the new land, something like that.
You know what? That's true to a certain extent, but there was a time limit on their servitude. As an indentured servant, you was not a slave forever. All right? As an indentured servant, you fulfilled your contract, and then after your contract was over, you accumulated some type of funds, and then you moved on with your life. Like, for example, the Irish were brought over here as indentured servants, but they weren't slaves. So they served their time because they were criminals on the continent of Europe. They were criminals. And part of their punishment was to be brought over here as indentured servants. So they served their time, but after they served their time, they were free. Black people were never free. That's the difference between us and the Elamites. The Elamites, the Trinidadians, they were indentured servants. They were not slaves. They were eventually free and granted their freedom to be citizens. All right? We were slaves up until the point of emancipation. You understand? Go to the book of Jeremiah real quick. Hold Esther. Go to the book of Jeremiah and let me see. I think it's chapter 25. Actually is chapter 49 verse 36. The book of Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 36. And somebody read it for me when you got it, loud and clear.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 36.
Mm-hmm.
And upon Elam I will bring the four winds from the four quarters of the heavens, and will scatter them towards where all those winds.
So now Elam, those are the ancient Persians.
Mm-hmm.
So now some people would say, well, black people weren't the only people that suffered. Mm-hmm. We suffered too. Guess what? The Bible don't only document our history. The Bible document other people's history as well. The Bible said they was going to be scattered on four corners like we were scattered on four corners. Read on.
And there shall be no nation whither the outcast of Elam shall not come.
So the same way how we were brought into captivity unto all nations, Elam also was brought over as indentured servants in other nations. Read on. Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 36 to the end. Read on.
For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies, and before them that seek their life.
Right, their enemies is the same enemies we have, Esau, and now they're dismayed before them. That's why they seek trade with the U.S. You understand? In Indonesia and Iran and all of that stuff, the America put sanctions on Iran. They want to get nuclear energy. America say, nah, y'all can't deal with nuclear energy because then y'all going to try to make a nuclear bomb. But the people from Iran is Elam. People mistake them as Ishmael, though. They're not Ishmael, they're Elam. The Lord said they're going to be dismayed before their enemies. Right? Read on.
And I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. And I will send the sword after them, till I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam, and will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. But it shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith the Lord.
So now in the last days, when the Israelites get saved, the Elamites going to go back to their own land. You understand? So now on the island of Jamaica, you have Elam there, and you also have Israelites from the tribe of Benjamin there. So now the story that we're about to read, go back to the book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 1. The story that we're about to read is a Jamaican sister hiding amongst Elamites. Alright, y'all understand that?
Yeah.
It's a Jamaican sister hiding amongst modern day Trinidadians. This is the story that we're about to read today. Right?
So, like you said, some of Elam is Trinidadian, not all of them.
Yeah, not all of them. Because you got some of our own people that identify as Trinidadians.
Yeah, that's what I was
as well.
gonna ask.
You understand? Just because they, probably have relations to them or grew up on that side of the island or whatever. You understand? But you could tell the difference.
Yeah,
It ain't
yeah.
hard to tell.
They look just like Indians.
Yeah, they look just like Indians. They look just like the Hindus with the dots on their heads.
Yeah,
They look just like them. It ain't hard to tell. Trust me. Yeah, they Elamites, and they make sure that they separate themselves from the rest of them, except for I would say their version of house Negroes that cleave on to Israel. You know what I'm saying?
And house parties.
Remember, in East Orange, we used to live right next door to one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we're going to start reading in Esther chapter 1, verse 1. You got anything to say, y'all?
No.
Okay.
Esther chapter 1 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Now it came to pass in the days of Ahazri, how you say that?
You just said Xerxes.
Xerxes. This is Xerxes which reigned from India into Ethiopia.
From where?
From India into Ethiopia.
From where again?
From India into Ethiopia.
So it's letting you know who they are. From India to Ethiopia, the people from India are the Elamites, and this is the time that they ruled the kingdom. And they ruled everything from their country all the way up into Africa, up into Ethiopia. That's how large their empire was. Read on.
Over 107 provinces.
Over what?
107 provinces.
So over 127 provinces. That's what they ruled over. All right. Read verse 3.
And the nobles and the princes of the province being before him.
So all his servants, the power of the Persians and the Medes. All right. The Medes are Japhites. They are not the same people, but they ruled the kingdom together. You understand? Because they have power. So they say, yo, we got a nice little alliance going on. So we're going to rule the kingdom together. Half of the kingdom going to be yours, half of the kingdom going to be mine. Right? Read on.
You never heard what?
Two kingdoms sharing, singing, peacefully.
Oh, you just read it.
Yep. The Persians and the Medes. When you look up that history, that's what you're going to see.
When you look up the history, the Medes, when it started out, the Medes were a higher power. They were a higher nation.
Mm-hmm.
And as time went on, as the Persians became more they became more powerful than the Medes. It talks about that in Daniel, the ram.
Mm-hmm.
The ram, then it says one horn lifted up higher than the other. The horn that lifted up higher than the other was the Persian kings. Like when you read about King Midas, or you heard about the saying that Midas touched everything, touched turned to gold. He was a king of Medes. Before the Persian rule, King Midas was one of the most famous, if not the most famous, king from Media. And his kingdom was full of gold. But then as time went on, the Persians, under the Cyruses, the Dariuses, they came into power. And of course, Ahasuerus in his line. That's how you pronounce the name, King Ahasuerus, or Xerxes. It's King Ahasuerus or Xerxes. It's the same name. It's the same name.
Just translated from different
Right.
languages.
One's translated from one language, another's translated from another language. So so that's why they was able to coexist peacefully, because they both had their. The Most High set that up. That's just history, because Daniel saw it before they were in power.
Right. Yeah. And like we were saying earlier, the Medes, they had certain fables and fairy tales that they passed down amongst their people. Like when y'all look at the movie Scorpion King, like it's fictional, but that's actually one of the Medes' stories. The Scorpion King was a story that came from them. And then later on in today's time, they just decided to make a movie out of it. Why do you think that they picked The Rock to play the Scorpion King in the first original Scorpion King movie? It's because The Rock, his mother is Hawaiian. She's a Japhite. She's related. Those people, the Hawaiians, are related to the Medes. You understand? So they wanted to give an accurate depiction. A lot of people, they just think, oh, they bringing more diversity into the movies. They wasn't bringing more diversity into the movies. They was just giving you more of an accurate depiction of the history. That's all it was. All right, so read verse 3 again.
In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto his princes, his servants, and the power of Persia and Media. And the nobles and the princes of the provinces being before him. When he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even in 180 days.
Wow, so this was a long feast. All right, listen, 100 and what? And that was just him just showing off his gold. You understand? Now imagine how drunk they were too. Keep reading.
And when these days were expired,
No.
Like media, like television media?
No.
Yeah, nah, it's not the same thing.
Because in the Hebrew, it's not spelled this way. That's why I'm saying it.
Got you.
when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan, in the palace, both unto great and small 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace.
So then he just extended the feast even longer and said, yo, even the common people going to celebrate. You understand? That's how happy he was about this feast. Read on.
Where were white, green, and blue hanging fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver.
The beds were what?
Were of gold and silver.
Read on.
Upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble.
So look, he had everything decked out. You see how the heathens, they make their festivals festive, man.
Yeah.
You understand?
When you go to like Newark Avenue over there during the time of their festivity, you see like flowers hanging from like socket to socket and a whole bunch of paganism.
And we gotta get back to making our feast days festive. Because the Lord said, because you serve them not with joyfulness and gladness of heart, shall all these curses come upon you. You understand? So we gotta be more joyful in these days. Read on.
And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, and the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law, so none did compel.
So the drinking was according to the law, and none did compel. So you had to drink. You understand that? They drink it, and they say, yo, listen, if I offer you drink, you have to drink. You better not turn it down. So people getting ripped at this party. Read verse 9.
Verse 9. Also
Vashti
the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to the king Ahasuerus, right?
Ahasuerus.
So now his wife is also doing a feast for the women. So she's like, oh, my husband gonna do a feast, I'm gonna do a feast too. Right? So now it's two feasts going on synonymously at the same time. All right? So now his wife is having a feast, having an all old women's gathering and all of that. Pink stuff all around and everything. We don't know.
I mean, they were probably the wives of the men that came. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep. Read on verse 10.
On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehumem, Bazda. He commanded Mehumem and Bazda, Harbona, Bigda, and Abagda, Vidar, and Karhas, the seventh chamberlain, that served in the presence of Ahasuerus.
Oh, you gotta get it. You gotta get it.
Go for it.
Xerxes, the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal.
So stop right there. So Xerxes, y'all remember when we had watched 300?
Yeah.
All right, and you seen how Xerxes there in the movie.
Wasn't that the big gay person?
Yes.
A big gay person.
Party boy.
But he wasn't like that in real life. That they just did that, made him like a. Nah, he wasn't like that in real life.
Right.
In real life, how he.
He was manly. Like the Persians were manly. They were manly.
Yeah, they were manly. They ain't put it again.
See,
Why did you depict him like that?
Entertainment.
white man, the white man produced the movie. They depict everything with homosexuality in it.
Yeah,
They always had to
yeah.
add that to it. You understand what
Because
I'm
that's
saying?
why they act like that when the Greeks came against them. Remember you said that they was have like the way that they
No, the
dressed.
the Greeks, they would go to war
Exactly.
naked and all of that stuff, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They had that homosexual spirit. You know, not the
Spartans.
Edomites.
So they actually, hey!
Yo.
Not the Spartans.
Right.
Okay.
But continue reading. Read verse 11 again.
Verse 11. To bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal to shew the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen,
So the king pretty much said, all right, wife, come. I want everybody to come look at your beauty. I want everybody to see how beautiful you are, right? So he wanted to show off his wife because we just read earlier, he was showing off all his treasures, right? So guess what? Was his greatest treasure? His wife. So I want to show off my greatest treasure. I want to show off my wife. Read on.
but the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment.
So she did what?
She refused to come at the king's commandment.
Now why would she refuse to come?
So she was throwing a party.
Because she was what?
Throwing her own
She
party.
was throwing her own party. So she began to feel bigger than what she was. And she's like, well, I got my own thing going on. Why I gotta come?
She started the Me Too movement. Sound like the
Me
Me.
Too.
Good.
Sound like the Me Too
Women's
movement.
liberation
There
movement.
you go. All that in one.
Uh-huh. Read on.
But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlain.
Uh-huh.
Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
Uh-huh. So his anger burned. He's like, yo, man, why you ain't coming? Now he mad at his wife because she ain't showing up. And imagine what that looked like to a king amongst all his peers. He asked for his wife to come, and his wife is like, no.
Come.
So now imagine what that looked like.
I crashed the whole party.
Oh, man. Read verse 13.
Verse 13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the time.
So he had wise men amongst them, people, his little pagan priest and all of that stuff. Now he's asking for their advice. Read verse 15.
Verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law, because she have not performed the commandment of the king?
Skip something, right?
Yeah, I did. I skipped on verse 14.
No,
Okay, cut.
a hard. What?
Ahasuerus.
Ahasuerus, by the chamberlains.
Mm-hmm.
And Memucan,
Memucan.
Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti, the queen, have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
Uh-huh.
For the deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes.
So now why will all of the women in the kingdom begin to despise their husbands in their eyes from just the queen alone telling her husband no?
Because they basically following these saying if she can do it, we can do it too.
Exactly. It's the same way how in today's time, if Beyonce says she's independent, all of the other women gonna say they independent.
In the Lemonade album, she was living her man. Everybody ended up supposedly living
Yeah.
people.
Listen.
The rain going in. I just met you yesterday. All that goofy stuff.
Yup.
To the left. To the left.
Yep. Skip down to verse 19.
Verse 19. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
So now they just told us, man, yo, get rid of that woman. She don't want to come? All right, now she don't got to come ever again.
That's right.
You gotta understand something. She's saying she's refusing, and as she's refusing from the chamberlains, who's around her? All those princes' wives are around her.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I said, yo, she didn't only disrespect you, she disrespect all of us, because our wives are over there partying with her.
Yeah.
So that's a serious thing, and so you got to understand, their women were in order. Their women were in order. You know, whether a woman liked it or not, you was under subjection to your husband. You see what I'm saying? And even in you know our kingdom, whether a woman likes it or not, you're gonna be under subject unto your husband. But in the kingdom, they're gonna want to be under subjection. But a lot of women aren't gonna make it because they don't want to be under subjection unto their husbands. You understand? Or they want to be on this independent thing. You see what I'm saying?
And the independent thing.
Continue reading. Verse 20.
And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small.
So now that was going to put the fear in all of the women. Because now they're going to have it like they're going to have it in their mind. If it could happen to the queen, it could happen to me.
Exactly.
You understand? Skip down to chapter 2, verse 1.
Verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti.
So now after he done got rid of her, he done kicked her out and everything. He done woke up the next morning, sobered up a little bit, because y'all know he was drinking all of that time. Y'all know he had a feast for 100 and something days, then extended the feast for regular people to enjoy it and everything. So the man was drunk. So now you know when you wake up the next morning and you come to your senses,
What did I do?
the heck? I done got rid of my wife. Like, he started feeling it. His heart started pumping like, dang.
Where's Vashti at?
What Vashti at?
But it had to be done.
Read on.
And what she had done, and what was decreed against her.
So he remembered all of this. Read on.
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
So now they said, listen, we got a perfect way to fix this for you. We're gonna get the most beautiful young women in the world, in the kingdom, and we're gonna get them, and you could choose from out of all of them to be your wife. All right. This is what the Miss what do they call that?
Miss Persian pageant.
Miss Universe and all of that stuff, whatever.
Beauty contest.
Yeah, beauty contest, beauty pageant.
Beauty pageant.
Yeah.
I could be there, man.
Probably was a servant.
I'm gonna be there as a king next time.
There you go.
There you go. Read verse 4.
And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Higi, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things be purification. Let the things be for purification be given to them.
See, we ain't need no Planned Parenthood and all of that stuff to do checkups and everything. You feel me? We had herbs. People understood the way the world worked. They had herbs and all of that stuff to do purification for the women. You understand? So he said, look, we're not just going to have a beauty pageant, but they're going to go through a whole process of purification, because they ain't bringing no STDs up in here, man. Read on.
And let the maiden which pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so.
Read on.
Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai.
Now another name for this feast day is Mordecai's Day. And you're going to find out why as we read along. Mordecai, this brother, he was sharp with it. Read on.
The son of Jari,
Uh-huh.
the son of Shimi, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
So he was the son of Kish, the son of a Benjamite. He was a Jamaican too. Alright? And he actually came from the line of King Saul, the first king of Israel. He came from that family line. So he pretty much redeemed that line right there, you know what I mean?
He could have been a descendant of Jonathan.
Yup, true.
Jonathan's line was righteous.
Yup.
And
Yup.
David loved Jonathan.
Yup.
Most of, like, outside of Jonathan, the rest of his sons and all them, they despised David.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jonathan loved David, so he could be out of,
Yeah,
he
he
probably
could've
was out
been.
of Jonathan's line.
Yup.
That's what he probably comes from Jonathan's lineage.
There you go. Read on. Read verse 7.
Verse 7. And he brought up
Hadassah.
Hadassah.
So Hadassah is Esther's real name. That's her Hebrew name. Read on.
Okay. Hadassah, that is Esther, her uncle's daughter.
His uncles.
His uncle's daughter.
Right, because now Mordecai's uncle had a daughter named Hadassah. Alright, so this is actually Mordecai's cousin. Read on.
For she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
whom Mordecai, when her father and her mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Now look, check that out. Mordecai, he had love for his little cousin. You understand? So he raised his little cousin as if that was his daughter. This is the type of men that we have to raise up in Israel, man. Because coming out of the world, our men, we've been sexualized so much, man, that like our minds are perverted. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to look at our women as sisters anymore. Look at our women as mothers anymore. Every woman you look at now gotta have a big butt and nice breasts, and you looking at them in a sexual way. You understand?
And if you not looking at them in that way, they think you looking at them in that way.
Not really. Not really. It's not every case.
Because
It's not every case. You
Not
don't, so
every
you
case.
can't even really say nothing. You 18? You can't really talk about like 10 years. 18. See, it's not a, it's serious. He's only 18. Like, what did I know? What did you know at 18? I didn't know anything at 18. So, I mean, when you get 25, then talk to me. But you're 18, man. Kids still.
I still didn't know at 25.
Exactly.
I done got with the dang double woman at 25.
The reason why I say no is because you don't know what nobody's thinking.
yeah.
A lot of that is in your head. You don't. So do you know what I'm thinking right now? We can assume, but you don't know. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff, it stems from it stems from slavery that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
It stems from slavery. See, slavery did a mind game on our people
That's right.
to hate each other because that was part of the prophecy. So sometimes we can think that, but that's not the case. On women's ends and on men's ends.
Yeah.
Yup.
You see what I'm saying? And because our people don't know how to communicate with each other, they'll just leave it just like that.
Yup.
That's like when women say, all men are dogs. And I always say, well, have you slept with every man on this planet?
Come.
Then you can't say all men are dogs. Because if you slept with every man on this planet, then you're a whore. So, of course, all men are big dogs, your whore ass out. It's the truth. Are we live? This is live?
Yeah.
But that's a fact. So you can't say all men are dogs. Like when men say the black woman's no good. You haven't slept with every black woman. There are a lot of good sisters out there. It's just the circles the circles you're in.
The sister you deal with.
Right.
was
Or the
with
brothers
you.
that you deal with.
Yeah.
So we can't really say that. Because that's just the circle that you're in. And if it's like that in your circle, then you need to change your circle.
Exactly.
Come.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what I always tell sisters. If you always go into a particular club and you find the same lame guys doing the same lame thing, stop going to that club. Go someplace upscale, someplace that fits you to where you're not looked at as a piece of meat. Then you got to change certain things around. Like, I don't do things that I used to do when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
It's the truth. You're not. If you're got some form of spirituality, you're gonna evolve. The guys that don't evolve are the same guys that are 40 and 50 years old still on the corner hanging. And they still go to the same places because they're always looking back in the past. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say you and I wasn't coming at you in a negative way, but you're young. So you ain't really see life yet. You know what I'm saying? When you get older, when you get older, it's gonna be things you're gonna remember that your mother told you when you was 10. Now you're gonna understand. Because it's things that I'm 48. And it's things that my mother told me when I was 10. Like, you don't understand now, but you're gonna understand when you get older. I'm like, damn, I remember she told me this. Wow, this is crazy. So we don't understand life, and you're too young to understand life. You're too young. You understand? Because you haven't seen life. Even in your 20s, your early 20s, some 20-year-olds, you know, depending on how you were raised. See, I was raised on a different level. My mother, although we lived in the hood, she didn't want us to be have that hood mentality. You see what I'm saying? So she always had us in certain things outside of the neighborhood. But I still was in the hood, though. You understand what I'm saying? But I knew it was a better way, just based off of my mother doing certain things. You know, but it's like, you know, the one thing that we don't do as a people, and when it comes to relationships, is communicate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and even amongst Israel, you know, when you're courting somebody, or you're looking to court somebody, or if you're taking care of somebody, it takes a high level of spirituality to deal with a relationship. You have to be spiritual to do what Mordecai did.
True.
It takes a high level of spirituality to do what Mordecai did.
Yeah.
To adopt his cousin. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, I know people that they're not trying to take care of nobody else's children if it don't come out of their loins.
Yep.
And they despise people for that. Like, you got a lot of people that adopt, but what do they adopt for? The money.
Game, yeah.
Yep.
And they don't want to adopt, they just want to be foster parents for the money.
Or they be molesting those kids too.
Yeah, they do. Treat the children like crap.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? People like that. And that's why I tell people, when you're dealing with the body of your house shot, you have to put this spirit on that Mordecai had. You can just talk about take care of the widows and what? The fatherless. That's what he did. That's law. That's law. You can't get around that.
Commandment right there.
That's law. It says take care of the widows and the fatherless. That's law right there. You have to.
Yeah. Tells you to take care of the
Exactly.
little fatherless like if it was your own.
Yep.
Exactly. And see, when you put on the spirit of your house, embrace that. You know, what happens if something happens to your brothers and all? You got to take care of your sister. You know what I'm saying? You can't be a young man anymore. Now you got to be an older man. You know what I'm saying? Like when my pops left my mother, he divorced his children. So we had to grow up. I couldn't be that young guy no more. You know what I'm saying? I had to grow up. My brothers had to grow up because we had to be men of the house. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a high level of spirituality to achieve that. And the only way you can achieve that is embrace these scriptures. You got to embrace these scriptures and believe in what you read. You know what I'm saying?
Read on verse 8.
Verse 8. So it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan, the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the woman.
So now Esther, Hadassah, was actually brought to be into this quote unquote beauty pageant. Alright, read on.
And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him. And he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens.
So now she had passed the test. She passed the test with Hagar. So Hagar said, oh wait, no. This woman, she ready. Take her to the next level.
Exactly.
gave her her purification. She got the chance to soak in some nice water, to keep her clean and all that stuff. And she even had got 7 servants under her.
You know, it says speedily.
Speedily gave it. So she had some favor shown. Yeah, I fed him before we left. Read verse 10.
Verse 10. Esther had not shewn her people nor her kindred.
Meaning she had to hide her nationality. She had to hide her race, her identity. Read on.
For Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew.
So Mordecai said, yo, don't let nobody know you a Jew. Don't let nobody know you from the tribe of Benjamin. Don't nobody need to know that.
And why do you think that is?
You asking me?
Anybody.
Oh, well, he told her that because the king, he don't think that the king would have married the Jew.
The nations, right?
Yeah.
Nations didn't really do the race mixing thing.
And that brings me to my question. All right, you know, it's a commandment for us. Deuteronomy 7:3 tells us not to marry outside our nation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, being that she married outside of her nation, do you think, although she accomplished what she accomplished, you think the Most High will overlook that?
The Most High put her in that position.
Yeah, the Most High put her in that position. The Most High purposely made her
like that.
Be in that position to save the whole nation.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So of course it's already overlooked. If it wasn't, this book wouldn't even be in the Bible.
Right. It wouldn't have been done speedily.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's a reason why, like you said, this story is in the Bible. It's a reason why we celebrate this day unto this day. You know what I'm saying?
And then that's when time for everything comes in there.
Kind. So read verse 10 again.
Verse 10. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it. And
So let me ask y'all a question. If she was a white Jewish woman, do you think she would have been able to hide a bunch of East Indians? No way. This scripture proves not only to you but to everybody that Esther was a so-called black woman. Because there's no way a white Jew would have been able to hide her kindred amongst a whole bunch of East Indians, which at that time you ain't have a lot of light-skinned versions of them. All right? Think about that. You did not have that. That's why I said look up ancient Persians in Google Images and see how they look. Look how dark-skinned they are. And then ask yourself, how the heck could a white Jewish woman hide amongst those people? Unless she was one of our people. That's the only way.
Well, if y'all need a depiction right now, you go also, when you go to the stores and some of the stores with the people with the red dots, you know what I'm saying? Those are some of the people.
Yep. There you go.
They live all in Jersey City. They got a little area over there in Jersey City.
Exactly.
Verse 11.
Verse 11. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
So her older cousin stayed checking up on her, man. He was really an older cousin. He really looked out for her. So he stayed going over there. Yo, what's going on with Hadassah? How she's doing? Well, he ain't say Hadassah because that was her Hebrew name. She had to hide her identity. So that's why they called her Esther. You understand? So he every day going over there checking on her. Skip down to verse 17.
Verse 17. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins.
So now it was something about her that stuck out among all of the women that he was seeing. He said, yo, this woman is special. Because even in the book of Exodus, it tells you the women of Israel is lively women. Our women stick out. Our women is the most beautiful women in the whole wide world, man. Think about that. You understand? The most beautiful women in the whole wide world. Listen, the Arab man don't sell porn of his women. He sell porn of your women when you go to those chicken shacks. You see what I'm saying? And that's just talking about a sexual level. But then let's even talk about personality and everything. This is a righteous woman. This ain't the wickedest of our women. This a righteous woman out of Israel.
You're not gonna see white women like Harriet Tubman that's ready to kill them crackers. Or Sojourner Truth. Those were strong sisters, man. You know, all the sisters in the Black Panther movement.
Right.
Angela Davis and them sisters.
Yeah. Or even Betty Shabazz, man. Yo, that movie, man.
King's wife.
Coretta Scott King. Oh my goodness, Coretta Scott King was the truth.
They were gangsters. They followed their husbands to the death. And they weren't afraid.
Yep.
You know, you're not gonna get white women like that. You know what I'm saying? Or East Indian women like that.
Nope.
Chinese, Japanese women like our sisters stick up. You know what I'm saying?
Go.
Them sisters were strong sisters. They
Yep.
were strong.
Yep. You
You
know.
know. We're a little confused now, but so are the men. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So are the men.
So our sisters, like he said, stood out. And Esther, he loved her above all of the women that he was dealing with. All right? Read on.
So that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
So she even became the queen of the whole kingdom. Imagine that. A Jew that's supposed to be a servant and a slave in your kingdom that became the queen. Read on.
Verse 18. And the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the province and gave gifts according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. And Esther had not yet shewed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
So now, not only was she a beautiful sister, but she was a submissive sister as well. Because now she's married to the king. If she wants, she could be like, man, F y'all, man. I'm going to just ball Atlanta Housewives. I'm living it up. Let me sip some champagne. Honey girl, it's all good now, right? But she still followed her older cousin command. Her older cousin took care of her like that was his daughter, and she still treated him as if that was her father. She said, nah, it was a reason why my older cousin told me to hide my nationality, so I'm going to do what he said. Even though I'm in this high position, I'm going to listen to what my older cousin is saying. That's a beautiful thing right there, man. Yeah, she's very humble, very submissive. Read on.
In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
Right. So now you had so now Mordecai is in the presence of the king as well. All right. So now Mordecai is also in the king's gate. He's working for the king as well, right? And there's these two people, they want to assassinate the king. They had plans on doing evil to the king. Read on.
And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name.
So now Mordecai, he found out about it, and what did Mordecai do? He went straight to his cousin. Yo, let your husband know. Some people trying to kill him. You understand? Because you have to understand, even though we're in captivity under this government, you understand, our goal is not to have a rise up against the government and fight with the army of the government and all of that stuff. That's not our role. Our role is to wait upon Yahweh Shai, who we ignorantly call as Jesus Christ. You understand? We could defend ourselves, yeah, but our goal ain't to rise against this because the Lord put us in this captivity. It's our own sins and our own faults that got us here. You understand? So we have to deal with this punishment. So guess what? If these heathens ruling over us, we gotta treat it like, hey, listen, this is where we at. This is our empire too. You know what I'm saying? I would love for somebody to be like, we got an assassination plan on Trump, whatever. You understand? But guess what? At the end of the day, the scriptures tell you when they tell you to respect the gods, that's not talking about other people gods. It's talking about their government, their powers. You understand? So at the end of the day, you gotta follow the scriptures. Like, nah, I ain't gonna let these cats assassinate Trump. As much as I hate Trump, I ain't gonna let these cats.
And see, if you're in that position to do so,
Yeah.
you tell. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You don't want Pence to be president. He's worse than Trump.
Right? Read on.
And when inquiration was made of the matter, it was found out, and therefore they were both hanged on a tree. And it was written in the book of Chronicles before the king.
Right. So now they actually investigated it, found out that these two guys was trying to assassinate the king. They said, "Oh snap!" and they put him to death. And they documented it in they reports that they had for the kings. Right.
What's his name? When you what it's talking about is the Persians. And you can't find it, so don't go looking for it. Cause I tried to find it for years. It's a book called the Chronicles of the Persians and Medes. That they have a history book on just the chronological history of the kings, all the kings.
Yeah, they ain't gonna let you find that.
I wasn't looking for it. It's a young crazy man. Yeah, but it's the Chronicles of the history of the Persian and Medes, all their kings, everything that chronicalized, you know. And also, like, I want to just go back, right? Because when Esther told him, she certified in Mordecai's name. She said, Mordecai told me that these two men. So all that was chronicalized, like Mordecai found out this thing, this and that. Mordecai's the one that told Queen Esther, Mordecai this. So Mordecai now was written in the history of the book of the Persians, and of the Chronicles of the Persians and Medes.
The exact reason why they make sure we'll never find that book either.
Exactly.
You know what? As I can remember, one of the dudes in that movie that y'all was talking about the other day, name was Mordecai. Remember the Persian? And they came from what was it, 300? He was with the Persians. His name was never mind.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
No. I just got finished. I watch 300 all the time.
The dude with the ring in his ear. I mean, with the ring in his nose and everything. The king dude. His name was Mordecai.
No, not what?
That was Xerxes. So who name was Alright.
Man,
you know,
let's keep reading, man.
Stop.
Chapter 3, verse 1.
3 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman the son of Hamadiah, Hamadatha, the Agite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Now, we're not going to go on it right now, but if I was you, I would circle this verse because this, the Agite, this is showing you that this person, Haman, was an Edomite. Alright, Haman was from, and not just any old Edomite, but he was from the tribe of Amalek, Jewish people today. Alright, the tribe that the Most High really hate. Like out of all Edomites, that tribe the Most High really hate them the most.
And let me just show you some history, right? It points out, and this just came to me. It points out Haman, right, who was Agagite, who was descendant of King Agag, who Mordecai's descendant, Saul, was supposed to kill, and on Amalek. Crazy, right?
Yup.
Never thought of that.
Yeah.
Saul was supposed to kill all of them.
Yeah, Saul was supposed to kill all of the Agagites. And he
all the
Amalekites.
Amalekites.
The Amalekites, right.
And
he didn't do it. And that was the reason why the Most High was mad at him. And Samuel told him, the kingdom was taken away from you.
Right, exactly.
You understand? Because he didn't kill all of the Amalekites. And now this dude is from that, and now this dude is from that same tribe that Saul was supposed to kill off. And this dude is going to cause trouble for Israel. But now,
in particular, his descendant, which is Mordecai.
But now Saul's descendant, Mordecai,
learn something new every day.
Why did Saul do it though?
Because he was wicked.
Yep.
He was Saul. He was
No, he was wicked. Like
No, Saul is
that's
the
not
first
the
king in Israel.
Oh, I'm thinking about the other
No,
Yeah,
no,
you
no.
think about Paul.
New Testament Saul. No, the problem was the scripture says it's best to obey than sacrifice.
Come on.
Exactly.
He was given a direct order: kill all the Amalekites and kill everything. Their land, burn everything, do this, kill the animals, kill everything. That's what he was told to do. What did he do? He kept all the animals. Oh, we could sacrifice these things. And he kept the Agagite king alive. But not only that, some of them fled into the mountains. And
Yep, they
he
fled
wasn't
to
supposed to do
Syria.
that. And what happened was when Samuel came and he saw what he did, he already knew what he did. Basically, the Most High told him, look, better to bathe and sacrifice the fatter lambs and rams. So he cut up Agag and burnt the animals, killed the animals or whatever. But it was that was just the end of the house of Saul. He said, we're taking the kingdom from you. And by this time, David was already anointed anyway.
Yep.
But that just made it official. Because he knew Saul's heart from the start. That's why he anointed David behind his back. Because he knew Saul's heart, he knew David's heart. But this is crazy. It's so surreal that they're descendants.
It comes to a conclusion.
Yeah.
This time,
That's
this is crazy.
Rounds up.
This is crazy.
That's crazy.
I just thought it. That's like, wow, I just thought of that.
Yeah.
And that's
Read verse 2.
20-something
It
years.
was epiphany just happened, man. Yeah, y'all catch up when y'all read the scriptures a little bit more. Read
20-something
verse
years
2.
going over. I'm just realizing that. It's crazy, right?
Cut. That's good. That's good.
And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and
Relax.
reverend Hamming. For the king had so commanded concerning him, but Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence.
So look, Mordecai, he wasn't like his forefather Saul. Mordecai would see this Agagite like, this Amalekite, man, I ain't bowing down to this guy. You understand? So while everybody's bowing down to this Edomite, whatever, he's the only one standing up. Now you know Esau mad. He's looking
like,
at him like, yo, he refused to bow
He's like, I'm
down.
from a lineage of
Why is he
kings.
not bowing down?
Read verse 4.
Verse 4. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate.
Verse 4. Verse 4.
Oh, verse 4, sorry. Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them.
So he refused. He not listening to nobody. Mordecai's like, I'm not bowing down to that dang going Amalekite. I ain't bowing down to that Edomite. I don't care. Read on.
That they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's marriage was stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew.
So he said, look, it's against my faith to bow down to this guy.
I think it was a little bit deeper than that.
Read on.
You gotta understand. Men back then wanted you to worship them like gods. And that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
Haman wanted to be worshipped like a god.
Yep.
You understand?
No.
That's what he wanted because he was, number one, that's Esau's characteristic right there. He's put in charge. He's basically the second in command under Ahasuerus. So, in other words, all these Persian and Medes princes, he rose up above all of them to be second in command. So now he wants that honor. It's the arrogancy of the white man. See what I'm saying? He wants that honor to be worshipped like he's some god or something like that.
Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
So you know how the white man get. When he get mad, he gonna go to the distance.
He's gonna let you know.
Don't piss the white man off. He gonna set you up and blame your whole country on it. You're like, he gonna blow up his own towers and then blame a whole country and say they did it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's him. He's like a child. When he don't get
With
what
a
he
tantrum.
want, yeah, he have a tantrum.
Like
All right.
Trump.
Read on.
And he thought scorned to lay hands on Mordecai.
So he wanted to fight him. He like, oh, I just can't wait to lay my hands on this guy. Right? Read on.
For they had shewed him the people of Mordecai. The people of Mordecai, wherefore Haman sought to destroy the Jews, all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
So he said, yo, I want to kill all Jews, every single last one of y'all. I want to kill y'all. And you know what that was? That was him thinking about what we did to his forefathers.
Exactly.
You
That's
understand?
exactly what that is.
He's like, look, y'all tried to kill all of my people. I want to kill all of y'all. You know what I mean? That's all it was, man. Read on.
In the first month, that is the month of Nishan, Nisan. In the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast per.
And this is where you get the word Purim from, because it's casting lots. You understand? That's what that's talking about. Read on.
That is the lot before Haman, from day to day and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month of Adar.
Mm-hmm.
And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all the people. Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Right. So he said, listen, man, you got some terrorists in your kingdom, man. You know what I'm saying? They got laws that's different than yours, and they follow their own laws, but they don't follow your laws, which is a lie, because the scriptures tell us to follow the laws of the land long as as long as it's not causing us to disobey the Father's laws. You see what I'm saying? So so he's lying on us, really. You understand? But he gotta sell it. He gotta villainize us.
And that's what I said when I read that verse. I think he's very cunning in that verse.
Right, Dave, what you was about to say?
When did we kill all the 12 hours?
It was like back in David's time.
Before
Before this, yeah. You know what I'm
It was
saying?
during the time when the kings were being set up, after the judges, right after the judges, when Saul was made the first king. So that's when we had kings, then we had high priests. That they were known, but then every king had his personal high priest. So that's when basically we became under servitude unto the king, because we wanted to be like the other nations instead of just dealing with the Most High and having him as our king. So you read the book of Kings. Start reading Samuel's. That's good to read about the chronology of your people during those times of the Old Testament.
And that's my favorite book.
Judges, read 1 Samuel 1 and 2, which is actually the first book of Kings, first and second book of Kings. That's it's commonly known as the first and second book of Kings. But then you got 1 Kings 1 and 2, right, which is like the third and fourth book of Kings technically, because it all goes along with each other. And then you got the Chronicles, which is just a chronological history of 1 Samuel 1 and 2 and 1 Kings 1 and 2 that was written by Ezra.
And then what happens after that?
Right. Then what happens after that? So that's what the book of Chronicles was. The before and after and in between, but he just chronologized everything and just brought history from the beginning up until that.
Read verse 9.
And if it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasury.
So now, he said he wants the king to make a law or a decree that they're going to a certain 2 days go and kill every Jew within inside their kingdom, and whoever kills a Jew, they could get paid 10,000 pieces of silver for it.
The purge.
The first kill.
This is the first purge right here.
Right?
When y'all see that purge movie,
Be like, if you look, if it says like the part where it talks about like if you participate, you get paid more money.
Exactly, that's what it is. If you participate, you get more money. So that's what they was doing. So they said, yo, you can do whatever you want to these Jews these 2 days. All right, and we'll pay you silver. You know what I'm saying? You could take their stuff, you could kill them, take their house, take their money, take their clothes and everything. That was the decree. We're going to skip through this a little bit. We're going to go to chapter 4, verse 1.
Chapter 4, verse 1. And when Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
Right, y'all ever watch, I don't know, cartoons was a little bit different when I was growing up. And I don't know, Wally, you'll be able to relate to this. You ever see those cartoons when people get down, like, ah, you rip their shirt off? Pretty much that's what we used to
X-Men,
do.
Wolverine.
That's what we used to do. Mordecai, he found this out. He said, what? They're going to have 2 days to kill all of us, get paid for, and we'll take ashes, take the dust of the ashes and put it on our head, right? Because we was in mourning. You understand? It sounds crazy, but look, the Native Americans were still doing this when the white man came here. The Native Americans were still doing this custom, even in modern times. Read verse 2.
And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
So look, when you work it, it's just like certain jobs. You have to dress a particular way.
Suit and tie.
You understand? So mind you, Mordecai works for the king. When he comes in the king's gates, he got dressed apart. But he's coming in with sackcloth, all tired and mourning and everything. People like, what are you doing? You breaking the king's commandment. You come in here, you gonna get put in death for that, man. Coming in here like that, dressed down like that, dirt all over you, ripped up clothes
Ashes.
and all that stuff. Right? Read verse 5.
Verse 5. Then called Esther for Hatchai. How you say that? Hatach, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave her a commandment. Gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was.
So look, she's like, she see her cousin like this. She's like, yo, what's wrong with my cousin? So now she's sending a servant to try to figure out what's wrong with him. Right? Read verse 7.
Verse 7. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them.
Right, so now he's breaking it down. Esther had no idea that this law was passed. Because this shows you, just because you're a king or a president, you don't know about every law that's passed and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There's laws that get passed and then you find out about it later. Like, what the heck is that? You know, my administration did that. You know what I'm saying? And people be mad at the president, like, man, that's Barack Obama, man. He passed the so-and-so law, whatever. Barack Obama, like, what the heck? I don't remember passing
The
this.
Senate. Yeah.
Read on.
And he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy
So
them.
Mordecai, he ain't playing. He even had a copy of the decree. He said, listen, cousin, look, you read it for yourself. Look at this. They're going to kill us. They got 2 days to purge us out of the whole kingdom and kill us. Read verse 9.
Verse 9. And Hatach came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again Esther spake unto Hatach and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. And all the king's servant of the people and all the king's servant and the people of the king's province do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death. Except.
So in other words, Esther is letting him know, look, go back, tell my cousin, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who go before the presence of the king, if the king didn't command them to come before his presence, they're going to get killed. They're going to get put to death.
And this was in the inner court, because this is where they had all their meetings at. So the only reason why you should be in the inner court is if you're called to the inner court, because this is where this is the government right here. Like, you just can't walk into the Oval Office, or you can't walk into the chambers.
It's like walking into the White House,
the
like
legislation or anything, like when they're having their meetings at the state of address. You just said the average Joe ain't walking.
Yeah.
The hell y'all doing?
You think you were just walking to the White House to meet the
Yeah,
president?
that's why I was saying it's like the
Like
white
you
dude
said,
that jumped the
you're not
fence and he was running and they threw the dogs at him. And I was like,
Yep.
Certain things you're not doing, like you're not walking into the
Yeah.
State of the Union
yeah.
talking about, yo, what's up? You're not doing that. You know, you're not even getting close to it. And if you was to get in, most people that try to think about it, most people that get arrested for coming to the White House, why don't you hear about them anymore? Think about that. They're locked up in a Fed jail somewhere because the District of Columbia is a federal property. It's not a state. It's a district. So when you get locked up in D.C., you get sent anywhere in the country to a federal prison.
Yep. Read on.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden script.
Scepter.
Scepter.
So scepter is like the staff that the king holds. So the only way there's an exception if the king holds up the scepter and say, nah, don't kill him, it's all right, they can come before my presence.
Yeah.
Read on.
That he may live. But I have not been called to come unto the king these 30 days.
So look, she haven't seen her king, haven't seen her husband in like 30 days.
a whole month.
You understand? So she's like, look, he haven't asked to see me, so I don't know what I'm going to do if you don't call me to go before him, how I'm going to bring this up.
But understand this also, that just shows that men just weren't always thinking about sex.
Yep.
Colonialism. He's running a country. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to build a nation. So it's a time and a place for all things.
Yep.
There was a lot of things going on during that time period. So,
Yep.
you know, and remember, they were the ruling power. So in order to stay on top, you got to think of ways to stay on top because they were the ruling power. You know, when you're in power, you never sleep because you got enemies.
Yep. Read on.
And they told to Mordecai Esther's word. And Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shouldest escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
So look, Mordecai set his cousin straight. He said, yo, don't think because you the queen that it's an exception. You a Jew. And the king, if the king got rid of the dang on queen before you for not coming when he asked, what the heck you think he gonna do when he find out you a Jew and he just wrote a law passed to kill all the Jews?
He's gonna have to kill her,
whether he want to or
whether
not.
he want to or not.
Yeah,
Same way he did with his wife. That's why we woke up the next morning with Vasily. He was like, "Oh, where's my wife?" I did what?
This dude is just keep doing irrational decisions.
You know what I'm
left
saying?
and right.
Well, no, that wasn't irrational. That had to be done.
Right.
That had to be done. That wasn't irrational. But it's, you know, it's what it is. Like they're like, yo, hold up. We got rid of Vashti and she's Elam.
Yep.
We gotta get rid of her. She's a Jew.
Yep. Read verse 15.
Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so will I go unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
So now this sister was willing to die for the nation. She was like, you know what? It is what it is. You right. I gotta go before him, and if I die, I die.
You know what I
But hold on real quick. But she also, knowing that she could potentially die by doing this, she fought a physical battle in a spiritual manner. She told her cousin, tell the whole nation to fast and pray for me, and meanwhile, I'm going to fast and pray on it too.
And her servants.
It was just the ones in Shushan that she asked.
Right. Yep.
The ones in Shushan she asked.
That's what I was going to say.
Cut.
Yeah.
Yep.
But let me just read this in the book of Esther and the Apocrypha, because this is the prayer that she said when she fasted. It says, Queen Esther also, being in fear of death, resorted unto the Most High. So she feared death, so she resorted unto the Most High to ease her comforts, and laid away her glorious apparel, and put on garments of anguish and mourning instead of precious ointments. She covered her head with ashes and dung, and she humbled her body greatly, and all the places of her joy she filled with her torn hair. So she really made herself become base. You understand? Now remember, she put on, huh? Because it put you to a lower state.
Yeah. She's supposed to be the queen.
She's supposed to be the queen. So
But
remember,
but now she's like, F that. I'm like a regular person right now. I'm about to die.
and understand something. Like, what she's doing and putting on ashes and sackcloth and everything. Remember, once you get past the king's gate, it's not allowed, but she's doing it as a queen, and all her maidens are doing it also. You see what I'm saying? Because they fasted too. You see what I'm saying? And she prayed unto Yahweh, the power of Israel, saying, "O my power, thou art only our king." So she's saying, "You only my king." Not even Azores is my king. You're only my king. Help me, desolate woman, which have no helper but thee. For my danger is in my hand. For my youth I have heard for my youth I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Yahweh, tookest Israel from among all people and our fathers from among their predecessors for a perpetual inheritance, and thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise them. So she's trying the Most High, like, listen, it's a known fact that throughout our history, that whenever our forefathers was in a jam, you always came through for them. So this is what I'm coming to you for. So she says, and now we have sinned before thee, therefore thou hast given us into the hands of our enemies, because we worship their gods, O Lord, thou art righteous. Nevertheless, it satisfied them not that we are in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols. It says that they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth hast ordained. So let me read that again. It says, nevertheless, it satisfied them not that we are in bitter captivity. Talking about the heathen, that they have us in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols. They also want us to serve their idols in their captivity. You know, meaning Haman wanted people to worship him. It says, nevertheless, it satisfied. Okay, I've read that. It says that they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth hast ordained, and destroy thine inheritance, and stop the mouth of them that praise thee, and quench the glory of thy house and of thine altar. So in this prayer, she's like, listen, they want to destroy what you ordained. You gonna let this go down like this? You know what I'm saying? So it says, and open the mouth of the heathen to set forth the praises of the idols, and to magnify a fleshly king forever. So this is what happened. If you allow them to destroy us, fleshly kings are going to be worshipped forever. You don't want that to happen, right? So it says, O Lord, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing, and let them not laugh at our fall, but turn their device upon themselves, and make him an example that have begun against us. So she's praying against Haman. Like, yo, turn this off of us and put it back on the one that put this on us. And what is she's saying? She's like, listen, to them that be nothing. So even Esther knows the woman, the heathen are nothing.
Right. And what she prayed for actually was fulfilled the exact way she prayed for it.
The way she prayed for it, exact same way. Remember, O Lord, make thyself known in the time of our affliction. So she's trying. I'm like, yo, because the Most High always says, and this is why you got to have a relationship with Yahweh Shah. He always says, he always will find a way for you out of things if you just pray to him. The Most High always is, he's never going to put nothing on you that you can't get out of. This is serious right here.
Can I go back to what you were saying on Wednesday about the faith?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to have faith in it's no way. See, you like I tell people all the time, you can follow the law and not make it into the kingdom of heaven. Because if you don't have faith, you're not getting into the kingdom of heaven. Because I could just tell you, follow these laws, this and all that, give you $5,000 a month. You're going to do it. But if you don't have faith in what you believe in, you got to have faith in it. You got to. This is a story of faith right here. She had faith. They say, yo, remember, I heard about you with our forefathers, man. Yo, you looked out for them. We in the same jam. You got to look out for us, too. Like, you going to let the heathen disrupt what you ordained? Nah, you can't do that. But she humbled herself. You can't go to her arrogant. got to be humble. You have to be humble. And that's putting on the body of Yahweh Shah. You understand? So it says, remember, O Lord, this is verse 12, chapter 14, verse 12. Remember, O Lord, make thyself known in the time of our affliction, and give me boldness, O King of the nations, the Lord of all power. Give me eloquent speech in my mouth before the lion. Turn his heart to hate that am desolate, and which have no other helper but thee. So she understood she was in a position to save the nation, right? It says, thou knowest all things, O Yahweh. Thou knowest that I hate the glory of the unrighteous, and abhor the bed of the uncircumcised, and of all the heathen. She didn't want to be married to him, but she knew the Most High put in that position, so she had no choice. That's why she's like, yo, this guy's, I hate the nations. I don't like the heathen. I know why you got me here, though. So she understood. This is a power move right here.
Especially if she didn't know, she definitely knew by now.
Right, but now check this out. It says, thou knowest the necessity, for I abhor the sign of my high estate. So she's like, yo, you know what I got to do. Although I abhor everything that I'm doing right now. But I have to do it. She understands that in order to save the nation. That's why Mordecai said, listen, don't think you're going to escape. You're the Most High. If you don't want to do it, trust me, the Most High is going to deliver us through some other way. Whether you do it or not, we still going to be delivered, so it might as well be you. So he's letting her realize this is why you were chosen to be the queen, because of this guy. So she realizes that. You understand? He says, thou knowest that my necessity, for I abhor the sign of my high estate, which is upon my head, in the days when I show myself, and that I will abhor it as a menstruous rag, and that I will wear it not when I am private by myself. So she's like, yo, once I show that I'm a Jew, things are going to change. You understand what I'm saying? Because everybody knows we didn't deal with the heathen like that, but she's going to be the queen, and she's going to be stuck with this uncircumcised dog. You see what I'm saying? It says, and at the time, it's like, and that thine handmaid had not eaten at Haman's table, that I have not greatly esteemed the king's feast, nor drunk the wine of the king's offering. So she's not.
So she ain't participating in the pagan worship that her husband was doing.
She's not dealing with all that.
She still
remained
kept the faith for the Most High.
And that's why, you know, Ahasuerus was even smitten with her more, because what happened? When he had the first celebration, what happened? His old wife Vashti was trying to outdo his thing. You see what I'm saying? She's like, I ain't dealing with all. I don't need all that. You know, she didn't. That just wasn't her MO. So it says, neither that thine handmaid any joy since the day that I was brought hither to this present. So once the king became interested in her and being queen, she didn't enjoy all that. The other one, oh, you can be queen. She's like, I don't even want to deal with this. But the level she got up, the more she understood. The Most High was put in that position for a reason.
And that's probably why he was attracted to her too, because
she didn't want it.
She didn't want it. Everybody else wanted it.
Right, she didn't want it. But that's why the king's chambers and everything, they loved her. Yeah. It's like, yo, get her in there. Because she's like, I don't need all this, you know what I'm saying? Oh, look at this. You know, she's not doing it for that.
She from her own royal bloodline,
exactly.
Man. She from the lineage of the first king of Israel.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So she looking at her like, what the heck is this?
Exactly.
This ain't nothing.
It says, O thou mighty Yahweh above all, hear the voice of the forlorn, and deliver us out of the hands of the mischievous, and deliver me out of my fear. Because her fear was being put to death if she goes before the king and he doesn't raise the golden scepter.
Come. So now let's see what happens when she go before the king. Read chapter 5, verse 1.
Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel, and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight, and the king held out to Esther the golden scepter.
The scepter.
The
golden scepter.
Scepter.
So when she entered the court, whatever, you know, she could have been put to death, but when the king saw her, He said, nah, I don't want to kill her. He put that scepter out. He said, let me hear her out. Let me see what she got to say.
And not only that, it was good that he didn't see her for 30 days. He probably missed his wife too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Dealing with business is business. But you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because look, we did the Vashti. You know what I'm saying? We did the Vashti. They woke up in the morning, yo, where my wife at? I did what? What the hell? Oh yeah, it had to be done, but then I had to be a woman, man. I'm just saying, lonely up in there. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. So this time
He said, I ain't about to miss out on this one now.
Not this one.
Not the second one.
She don't even want it like that. She down to earth as hell. No, ain't kidding her.
Read on.
That was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
Read on.
Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
So he said, whatever you want, you have up to half of my kingdom. Like this is a real 50-50 marriage right here.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? This guy said, look, you can have half of my kingdom.
She got that jug of lock.
Yeah, she had it on lock. Read on.
And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for
So
him.
now check out smooth Esther is with it. You know what I'm saying? She ain't bring it up right then and there like, please save my people. They're going to kill us. She ain't bring it up right then and there. She was smooth with it. She said, listen, if it please you, king, just come to my banquet and spend time with me. You understand? Bring your friend Haman. Bring him too.
Exactly.
You understand? See, man, our sisters, they were intelligent and they had class. They knew exactly how to deal with this. You see what I'm saying? So now she done invited them out to a banquet. She gonna butter them up and everything. So we're gonna skip to chapter 7, verse 1.
But before you do that, right? What you got to do tonight or tomorrow, do it really tomorrow. When you read the story,
Read the whole thing.
But when you read it, it's a puzzle because the books of Esther that are in the scriptures, in the Apocrypha, it's like the missing thing.
Links.
Because understand something, when she went before the king, she fainted.
Yeah.
She fainted. You got to find that out in the Apocrypha though.
Yeah.
Because it tells you where that part goes. Like when you read chapter, I think it's 14 or 15. After we read the prayer, the next chapter is when she went before the king.
Yeah,
and she fainted.
Yeah, because what happened was they burned, when they was trying to burn all our books, they burnt pieces of this story. You understand? But it still remained and it ended up being translated in the Apocrypha separately. You know what I'm saying? So when you read this story, read the whole book on your own, but read it with the Apocrypha at the same time. The book of Esther and the Apocrypha at the same time.
And he fainted. Did she faint?
She fainted when she
as she
came
was
into the
walking.
court. As she was walking to the court, whatever. Yo, I know he was flamed up like, this woman that disobeyed. What is she doing? Then she just, she fainted. He said, oh wait, no, what?
Because she was, listen, you got to understand, the royal inner court is where all the top guns are. It's like your kings.
She was like, I'm gonna freaking die.
This is a woman coming in a place where it's nothing but men.
Yeah. That's like the ultimate disrespect.
You got chamberlains and everything. She does not belong there. That's why she was so scared. She does not belong there. So what happens is she comes and she walks in. She's committing suicide. As she's walking out, that's why she put on all her royal apparel. And as she gets closer, what happens? She passes out. And he put the royal scepter up to grab her, to hold her up. And that's why he's like, yo, what's up?
And that's why I said that she had put her hand
on the royal scepter.
Right.
Because she was passing out. She was scared. So what happened was, he said, baby, I give you half the kingdom. What do you want?
That's why he was saying that.
That's why he was saying, yo. Because they think about Vashti and this, baby, I'll give you whatever you request.
Whatever you want, come on.
And then what she wanted, right, exactly. And then what she wanted was so simple. Oh, just come to my little dinner and bring Haman too. So he said, okay, I'll come. Haman's guys like, yeah!
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not realizing it's his downfall. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But he's gassed now because he's got all his favor, so he thinks. But pride coming before the fall.
Yep.
Pride before the fall. But that's why you got to read the story, because even in the story, before Esther the first chapter, it talks about Mordecai dreamt about this. He had a vision about this whole thing with him and Haman, but he didn't understand it. But then after the fact, then he understood everything. So what you got to do is you got to engage with the Bible and the Apocrypha more and put it together. Like when you read the history of Susanna, the Bell and the Dragon, the Song of the Three Holy Children, that's all parts that we take out of Daniel's. You got to find out where they go. I'm not going to tell you where they go. I want you to look in the Apocrypha and see where they go, and then start reading the story, because, like I said, Esther 1 and 1, if you notice Esther 1 and 1, the way it starts, it's already a story. Like it says, now it came to pass.
Yeah.
It's like once upon a time.
Right.
That's showing you it's something before this story. There's something, what came to pass? You understand?
Yeah.
What came to pass? That it was something before this story for this to begin with. Now it came to pass. You see what I'm saying? So what is it? It's that part you got to find in Esther in the Apocrypha. That's how you get your knowledge up. You understand? I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You do it on your own.
Go to chapter 7, verse 1.
That's where your faith increases at.
And read that.
Chapter 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said unto Esther, on the second day at the banquet of wine.
So look, she had it so laid out. The banquet wasn't just one day, it was 2 days. So she buttering them up. The king was like, man, I like this. So the second day, he's like, yo, baby, but for real though, like, what was it that you wanted to talk to me about? You know, read on.
What is thy petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
So she's saying, please, let us live. And let my people live. So now you looking at her like,
Because now she's going to bring out who she is.
what the heck you mean, let you live?
And your people live.
Your people? What are you talking about? Read on.
For we are sold, and I am my people to be destroyed, to be slain, to perish, and to perish. But if we have been sold for bondmen and bondwomen,
so she said, listen, we're being sold to be killed. But now if we was to be sold to just be slaves, read on.
I had held my tongue.
Look, I would have held my tongue. I wouldn't have said nothing to you if it was just a matter of us being slaves. You know, we used to this. We went from captivity to captivity. Read on.
Although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Damage. Then the king Ahasuerus, damn, I said Ahasuerus.
It's okay.
Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther, the queen, who is he? And where is he? That durst presume in his heart to do so.
So you're like, who the heck is trying to kill you?
Right.
Who the heck got it in their mind that they're going to be able to kill you?
Not my queen.
Right?
Not my wife. Lock the other one up.
Read on.
And Esther said, the adversary, an enemy, is this wicked Haman.
So look, so she got that bloodline of Saul. She said, the adversary,
Exactly.
the enemy of our people, this wicked man Haman, he doing it. That's why she asked him to come to the
probably
banquet.
drinking wine. He's like, she just said, me.
He's like, uh-oh.
He's like,
Yup.
she didn't say me.
Yup.
Yeah, I
Remember, he didn't know she was Mordecai's cousin.
Yep.
He didn't know any of that. So that Pat was like, hey, what you talking about? Not me.
Not me. I don't want to kill people.
Exactly.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. And he definitely heard it.
Yep, read on.
And the king arising from the banquet of wine, and his wrath went into the palace garden.
So now he got mad. He stood up. He started walking around, pacing back and forth. Read on.
And Haman stood up to make a request for his life to Esther the queen.
So now Haman, please, Esther, please. Right. He's begging for his life. Read on.
For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Because he's looking at the king and he's like, oh man, it's over for me. He gonna kill me.
Now mind you, like, cause we skipped this, for the sake of time and everything.
Right.
You gotta understand. That's why you gotta read the story. You gotta
read it on your own.
Because right before this happened, the king woke up out of a sleep. And he just went he's like, yo, let me go into the history. Yo, because he woke up like, yo, hold on.
He was having trouble in his sleep.
Yeah, in his sleep.
And he woke up like, let me look into the Chronicle again.
He's like, because what do we do for Mordecai, man? Because that's what the Most High troubled his sleep to remember Mordecai.
Right.
Like, hold up, Mordecai saved my life. What do we have to do for Mordecai? So he was troubled, he couldn't sleep. So he went to the history like, yo, let's see if we did something for Mordecai. So he looked, we never did nothing for Mordecai. So that early that day, Haman came into the office and he was like, yo, come into the office. He's like, yeah, I want you, what should I do for the person that delights the king, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. So Haman thought that he was talking about him, yo, what you should do for the person that finds favor in your sight,
right.
Yo, let him wear the crown royal, the purple, ride on your horse all around town, and let somebody proclaim, thus saith this man who was so-and-so, like who's find favor in the eyesight of the king.
Because he's thinking of
himself. He's like, yo, that's a good idea. He's like, all right, cool. He's like, yo, do that for me for Mordecai. What the hell?
So now the guy that he hates, he had to put the royal crown on this guy
and
ride him around. Yeah, he had gallows because he was going to hang Haman. He was like, listen, when Purge Day coming, I know exactly how I'm going to do my purge.
Exactly.
I'm going to hang him and his family. You know what I'm saying? He had the gallows waiting. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know Esau love hanging people.
Exactly.
He love a lynching. He love a good old lynching.
Mm-hmm.
So he had gallows waiting for him and everything.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And now this is the same guy that you got to ride around in the donkey wearing the king's crown and all that stuff, giving him honor because he saved the king's life. So he's already upset about that. Now this happens, and he's like, oh man, I'm about to die.
And the thing about it is, this is the thing about it. See, and he knew, what happened was this. After he did that, he went home and he told his wife and all the wise men, and his wife and the wise men said, well, damn, bro, if you just happened with that, if that just happened to you with Mordecai, and you had to do that, you already begun to fall. Like, you're going to go down. As soon as they said that, the chamberlains came, yo, let's go. You gotta go. You gotta go to this banquet.
Yep.
Now 5 minutes, like,
yeah.
Hour later, you about to be put to death. Because they told him, listen, if, like, Mordecai the Jew, you know the history of the Jews, man. Like, yo, the Most High working against you now, man. Like, listen, it's a done deal for you. So they started to pull away from him. And as soon as he did that, chamberlains came, grabbed him up, snatched him out. Let's go to the banquet. That was signed, sealed, delivered. He's been delivered now.
Yep. What verse was you at?
He was about to come back from the gardens.
In verse 7. He was still in verse 7.
Because he was asking for his life.
Right, he turned him against the king. Yes, he read that. Verse 8. Start verse 8.
Verse 8. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was.
So he's all on a bed begging, please, all on a bed.
Exactly. Dude, begging, boy. But that's violation.
Right.
Violation. Straight violation. You don't on the man.
It's a violation now. What are you doing on that bed?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Read on.
Oh man, he was out of pocket. Whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before
Right.
me in the house?
Like, you gonna take my
He
woman
trying to
too,
kill her and now he trying to rape her.
like, you gonna take my woman in front of me in my house? You killing and raping my woman?
People walk back in the room like, what the heck?
Like, you ain't supposed to be in that room. Like, yo, like, you out of your mind right now, bro. Like, I know you talking about killing my wife. Now you want to sleep with her before you kill her? Like, what you doing? Like, oh, this guy crazy.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
That's that bag over their head,
Put the
boy.
bag over his head. Yep, time to die. Come on, let's go. Read on.
And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
So now, think about it. Now the truth is coming out.
Yeah.
Because see, nobody's coming against Haman because he's the top guy under the king.
Yep.
But now that he's been exposed for his wickedness, King like, yo,
Yeah, everybody who wanted that second hand spot.
Yeah.
I'll just buy his house, man. And yo, this guy, he got gallows for Mordecai. And Mordecai spoke good on your behalf, king. I'm like, man, hang him on them things, man.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Everybody pulling out their blades, getting their little stab zone, huh?
But now you see why you gotta go into the Apocrypha though, because the same way Esther prayed for it to go down, it went down the same exact way. It's the power of the Most High, man.
Yep.
That's faith. That's faith right there.
Yeah.
That's real faith.
That's faith right there.
Read verse 10.
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath
Pacified. Yeah, so now the king felt pleased, like, I killed this dang on Edomite, man. You know what I'm saying?
We got rid of that one.
And we done lynched the Edomite, y'all. Look at that, y'all. All praise to the Most High. Over here, lynching Edomites out this
I feel cracker boy.
Read chapter 8, verse 1.
On that day, did the king Ahasuerus, sorry, how you
You work on that.
Xerxes.
Xerxes or Azores.
Azores gave the house
to
of
read
Haman,
more.
the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her.
So now everything that came out, Esther done told him, you know, I'm a Jew and Mordecai's my cousin and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Now he's like, yo, Mordecai, the dude that saved my life,
Exactly. Like
that's your cousin?
Right, exactly.
Now it's really on. He's like, man, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I love your whole family now.
but that's what it was. And now he's realizing, like, hold on, I signed that and he saved my life? That don't make no sense. Like, I don't see the...
That's that bad blood.
Yeah. See, and this is the reason why it's important to follow the law. Because when the law say, thou shalt not abhor Edomite and all of that stuff, whatever, you got to understand, we in a kingdom. The scripture tell you that the Lord will cause your enemies to do well unto you.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So now, people running around like they want to make war with the white man and the Asian man and all of that stuff. Like right now, here, that's stupidity.
You're gonna win.
You're not gonna win. The war gonna happen when Yahushua come back. When Yahushua come back, the scripture tell you they want to put that spirit on you
Shalom.
for you to go and do that fight, whatever. You ain't gonna have to amp yourself up. The spirit that the Lord put on you gonna be stronger than whatever spirit Rosewood could put on you. Trust and believe that.
Good.
A lot of men that talk that war talk, not warriors.
Shit.
Talk too much. Warriors don't talk about war, they just make war.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna be out of camp. You're right, man. Listen, I'll deal with that, man. but then you try to cut the Passover lamb, kill a Passover. They ain't killing the Passover lamb, though. You know what I'm saying? You know, they won't kill a Passover lamb. You won't kill a Passover lamb. You scared?
Sheep just staring at them like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Like, you know, but it's just like, you know, it's not a time for war. It's actually a time for peace, bringing the gospel to your people. It's not a time for war yet. That's what, and the scriptures even tells you, if it's possible, be at peace with all nations. With all men, rather, with all men. I don't go out there trying to love the white man.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? He's irrelevant to me, though.
You're not gonna vex
Like
me.
you see
He's
Mordecai,
irrelevant to me.
like Mordecai, you see his utter disdain for
Exactly.
Esau. You see what I'm saying? But then, despite that, and if he had utter disdain for Esau, it wasn't just Esau, it was all the
He's all the
nations.
nations.
You understand? But despite that, Mordecai saved the life of an Elamite. You know what I'm saying? Mordecai still dealt with situations according to as it was. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So now because of that, they like, yo, this is a good man, he's a loyal man, you know what I'm saying? He does his job right, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, we gotta deal with this dude. You know what I'm saying? He had that wisdom on him. You know?
When you walk in the laws of the Most High, you are different regardless.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like even with Esther, you read the prayer. She didn't want to be with them. She called him an uncircumcised. Dog, basically, dog. Like, she had both the heathen, but she understands the position she's in. You understand what I'm saying? Look at Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. They didn't bow down. They were put in the fire. You understand what I'm saying? Most High preserved them, sent Yahushua down there with him. Daniel didn't bow down, and he was still praying 3 times a day to the Most High. Told Jerusalem, they put him in the lion's den. The Most High made it to where the lions didn't touch him, and the Most High also had it to where he was
and that's
feeding
the
them.
same captivity too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the same captivity.
Yeah.
The Most High also had it to where he sent Habakkuk in there to feed him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Habakkuk was like, yo, Most High came to Habakkuk, yo, I need you to do something for me. Daniel is hungry, give him some food. Where is he? Took him, transported him into the lion's den. Oh, okay, you go, gave him the food, transported him back out. Or teleported him right
Okay,
out.
I never knew that part. I gotta go back.
You gotta go back.
Read the
You gotta read the Apocrypha
Apocrypha.
part. You gotta read the
Yeah.
Apocrypha. Why do you think they took it out? Because they were showing about teleportation.
Yeah.
You know, when you read the stories of the history of Susanna, important story. That's the beginning of Daniel's wisdom. Bel and the dragon, you understand, and the song of the 3 holy children, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. That was taken out for a reason, man. That was a powerful story because they talked about Yahushua there.
Yep.
It's like, yo, this is the
That,
son of
that
the
was the
son
proof
of God.
that wasn't just an
Yahushua
angel in the midst of the fire with him. That was Yahushua.
That was Yahushua. It's like one like unto the son of the Most High.
Hallelujah.
So it showed you that they knew about Yahushua back then. He was the top angel. He just wasn't the savior at that time.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
these are stories of faith, putting your faith in the Most High. They didn't go to war, try to go to war. They put their trust in the Most High. You're in captivity. You have no position to wage war when you're in captivity. That's why they put their trust in the Most High. Daniel put his trust in the Most High. These men put his trust in the Most High. It wasn't like David's time we were in kingdoms. But then we didn't go to war, and that's the Most High told us to. And we did everything the Most High instructed us to do. Because when we didn't, the Most High jacked us up, like the man who stole a Babylonian garment. He told him, don't burn the cattle, kill all the people off, don't take nothing, burn it. He took the Babylonian garment, some silver. Israel went out to the next war, people got killed. So they knew something was wrong. Take all the families, line them all up. That man caused not only him, but his whole family to be put to death.
Yeah, because they knew about it.
So when you put your trust in the Most High, it's a lot of faith. And now it's even more, you got to have more, because these are the stories that we're reading. Like I said last week in the class, or not last week, this week in the class, the Old Testament, they had angels coming to them. In the New Testament, men walk with Yahushua. We walk strictly by faith. So our faith has to be 10 times more to believe what these things are true and that these things will happen in the future. That's what it says. We walk by faith. Paul said it. We don't walk by the law. We walk by faith. And your faith increases your belief in that law. So you know how to operate in it, how to deal with it with yourself, your family, and your people. So that's what it is.
Read verse 4.
Then the king held out the golden. What verse are you at? We in chapter 8?
Yeah, chapter 8.
Then the king held up the golden
Scepter.
Scepter towards Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king. So we read this.
No. I was trying to explain something.
Yeah, this is now after Haman's been killed.
Right.
So now that Haman's been killed, now Scepter's going to, I said the scepter. Now Esther's going to the king again because that don't solve the problem.
Right.
The decree was still put out to have our people killed on those 2 days, those purge days. You know what I mean? Read on.
And said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seems right before the king, and I be pleased in his sight, let it be written to reverse the letter devised by Haman, the son of Hamaniah, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces.
So now Esther is asking, yo, could you reverse the decree that you put out there? Like, could you stop it? Right? Read on.
For how can I endure
Read verse 7.
Verse 7. And the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him that had hung upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews, as it is likened you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's name, for the writing which is written in the king's name, and sealed with the king's ring, may no man reverse.
So now, when the king put out a decree, he can't reverse it, because then the king's word won't be creditable. You understand? Yeah, you got to understand that. So if a king reverses a decree, it won't be credible. So he said, look, I can't reverse it, but what I can do is I can make a decree, and actually, and this is why you got to read it with the Apocrypha. Mordecai had suggested to the king, well, could you make it where we could defend ourselves, where we could fight back?
Exactly.
You understand? This is the reason why Purim is also called Mordecai's Day. Because Mordecai was the one who devised the plan to be able to save our people. He was the one who guided Esther through the whole thing. You understand? So Mordecai told the king, listen, well, could you make it where we could fight back and defend ourselves? So the king said, you know what? I'm going to make a decree where all Jews can fight back, defend themselves. And now this is the part where you prepare for war. See, there's nothing wrong with defending yourself. There's nothing wrong with, learning how to fight and learning how to use weapons and stuff like that in defense of ourselves for the things that Yahweh said is going to come to pass in these last days. You understand? But now, to have the idea that you're going to rise up against this kingdom and all of that, that's stupidity.
And notice, the king decreed it.
Exactly.
The king was like, I'm cool with that. Because Mordecai saved his life, and he's a Jew. Now, that's why it's like Mordecai the Jew.
Yep.
That's why it's like, yo, Mordecai the Jew. Mordecai the Jew. Because that's just what he is.
Yep.
Because, it's just being brought out. And now everybody knows Esther's his niece. I mean, his cousin. But if you notice when she walked in this time, she walked in more boldly, with less fear. Because she had valid points. You understand what I'm saying? And she has the king's heart anyway.
Yep.
Because this is a serious matter. So, and then when you check it out, because we got to go into that Apocrypha, Mordecai made sure that that when you read the letter, I'm not going to tell you about the letter because I want you to read it. Everything about the history of Haman, who he really was, what he really was doing in the Persian Empire, Persian Medes Empire, what his whole purpose was there for. Because they started to find these things out. You know what I'm saying? What his real plot was. And not only that, what our people was going to do or was allowed to do to these heathen. That's all. So you got to put that together. You got another day of Purim, so you might as well go over that tomorrow. During the daytime and read the whole story.
Yep.
Because we just going through bits and pieces. And it's a beautiful story of faith.
Yep.
It's a beautiful story of faith and putting your faith in the Most High. and letting him fight the battle. So now we can get a little piece of the action now. But this is all ordained by the Most High, because now Mordecai's in that position, because it tells you, in the scriptures, the king's hand is in the heart of the Lord's, no matter what king it is.
Yep.
Now we can fight back, because the king of this nation is ordaining it.
Yep.
Trump ain't letting us fight back in his kingdom.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna allow that. But
Yep.
if he did, give me the AK.
Yep.
Give me some knives.
Exactly.
These crackers, but it ain't gonna happen.
Right.
That was back then. It's a seven.
Read on verse 11.
Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together, to stand for their lives, to destroy and to slay and to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
Right, because the decree was that if they kill us, they could take our spoils
Exactly.
and our prey. You understand? So now the king said, you know what? If whoever come against you, you could do the same thing to them. So now this is literally the purge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is 2 days of lawlessness, like as is fighting, going at it with one another. Straight race war.
And
So,
think about it. It's saying Mordecai the Jew, right?
mhm.
And the reason why it's saying Mordecai the Jew,
King.
now people are like, hold up, aren't we supposed to
Solomon.
kill the Jews? But damn, hold up, if that's the case, didn't Mordecai the Jew just save the king's life?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's like that now it's being known. Like, yo, hold on, something ain't right here. So now the people that were actually with the program, some of them got to rethink their, because Haman lied. So now some of the people that was really a part of the plot, now like, hold up, what the hell?
Yep.
Mordecai the Jew saved them. We supposed to be killing the Jews coming up? Something ain't right.
Right. So the people don't have, and the people don't have to participate in it.
Exactly.
People could say, you know what, I ain't gonna do this, man. Let those cats breathe, whatever. But you're gonna see that the other nations, they have so much hatred for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Even after seeing everything that happened and how Mordecai saved the king's life and Esther dealing with the situation and everything, even after seeing all of that, they still want to do it. They still going to come after us because they want that money. They say, yo, if I could kill the Jew and get 10,000 pieces of silver for it, I'm going to do it. So they still going to do it. So let's read the outcome. Go to verse 16, chapter 9, verse 16.
And it reads, but the other Jews that were in the king's province gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000. But they laid not their hands on the prey.
So look how much integrity we got. We defended ourselves, killed everybody that was coming against us, and we didn't even take their spoils though. We ain't take their money, their jewelry, their gold, their houses, none of that stuff. We left it to their families. That's the integrity that we had.
Right. And when you read up above, the Jews that were in Shushan, they defended themselves. They hung Mordecai's 10 sons. You know what I'm saying? And again, they didn't touch one of the spoils neither.
So they hung
Haman.
I'm sorry, Haman's 10 sons. They hung Haman's 10 sons. And they didn't touch the spoils neither. I don't want that stuff.
Yep.
Because we just happy to be alive.
Yep.
And allowed to defend ourselves and not be charged with it.
Yep. Alright, read on.
on the 13th day of the month Adar, on the 14th day, and on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
So this is the feasting and gladness that we participating in now. Read on.
But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Go to verse 20.
Verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king of Ahasuerus, and both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month of God, and the 15th day of the same yearly.
And that letter is in the Apocrypha when you read it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Read on verse 26.
Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pearl.
Because Pur is our lots. Like they was going to kill us and take all of the stuff that we have. So this is the reason why it's called Purim. Read on.
Therefore, all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seeds, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fall, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year. And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and in every city. And that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
So you see that? So that means we always supposed to be keeping this day.
Exactly.
All right. Read on.
Then Esther, the queen and the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai, the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim. And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed according to Mordecai, the Jew, and Esther, the queen.
And just so y'all see, this is the last scripture. Read verse 22 to see how we supposed to celebrate it real quick.
Verse 22. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of spending portions. Sending portions one to another.
So we had to send portions one to another. All right, we gave pretty much what we did today. All right, sending portions, food to one another. Read on.
And gifts to the poor.
And what?
Gifts to the poor.
And gifts to who?
The poor.
And that's what the gifts was for. We gave gifts to the poor. You understand? So that was the purpose of us feeding the homeless today, because this is how Purim was supposed to be celebrated. Give portions to the poor, give gifts to the poor.
Gloves, socks, we'll do that next year.
Exactly.
Hats, scarves during the winter time, because Purim is in the winter season.
Yeah, exactly.
Good to give that to them,
So
even shoelaces. So a lot of people came up and have shoelaces.
I didn't even notice that.
A lot of people that came. I'm a very observant guy. A lot of people come up.
A lot of
somebody
homeless
tried to shoot
people.
me earlier today. You recall? Somebody tried to do a drive-by and shoot me earlier today. I beat that. They thought I wasn't paying attention. What the hell? Some window roll.
Listen, let me tell you something. I tried everything. I yelled at the car. I beeped the horn like crazy at the car. I did everything to the car. The only thing this dude is going to realize, I was like, you know what? What if I was somebody shooting at him? The second that I pulled up like this, like if I had a gun and I got close to the glass, he was like,
So all
the birthday in me.
So all praise to the Most High. I pray that everything that was brought out was through the Holy Spirit, that these words weren't our own words, but actually the words of the Most High. And Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahushua. Amen.
Amen. Read the story tomorrow. Tonight, tomorrow. Well, I'm drinking tonight. Anybody drinking with me?
Yeah, I'm drinking.
I'm going.
You already know.
Read the whole story. Put it together. Put the whole story together.